Hello and welcome to Friday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where, as mentioned yesterday, I am going to try this new rat run puzzle by Marty Sears called Triskaidekaphilia. And, well, I remember when I used to play Trivial Pursuits as a younger man, there was a question in Trivial Pursuits, which is, what is Triskaidekaphobia, the fear of? And I'm sure you all know that the answer to that is the number 13. So for some reason, I haven't actually read the rules of this one yet. This must be to do with the number 13 somehow. And goodness me, actually, I'm just scanning. The rules of this one are quite long, Marty. What's going on here? There's motion sensors, forbidden doors, and a test constraint. Oh, the test constraint, I can see the number 13 listed in that. So there's something going on with 13 at the end. But I did have a quick look at the comments before I turned on the webcam, and as you might expect, everyone loves this puzzle. And I mean, this is the quintessential, well, it's undoubtedly the greatest series of puzzles in the history of Sudoku. These puzzles are so well loved for great reasons. And it's merited a whole second season, and I hope many more seasons to come. I also snipped, Marty is something of a graphical wizard, this ancient papyrus here that tells us a bit about the background. So we've got experiment 13, bronze, 6th of November 1974, which, okay, so this puzzle's been out for 2 days. Although I'm not a superstitious man, I did briefly wonder whether we should have chosen a different test constraint for today's experiment. Perhaps this speaks less to any belief in luck, and more to my concern that things continue to go as smoothly as possible. Tempting fate at this stage seems... ... I don't know what. Anyway, this is what we're going to be battling today. I can't recommend these puzzles highly enough. I was lucky enough to meet Marty himself and express my gratitude and sort of awe at his mental prowess when we did the live event at Stratford-upon-Avon a couple of weeks ago. And so that was a thrill for me to meet Mr. Marty Sears. And yeah, I'll read the rules in a moment or two's time. Now let me look at my list of things to tell you about. There is a crossword video. This is my second video of the day. I recorded a video earlier on when I did today's Times cryptic crossword. If you enjoy your cryptic crosswords, or if you want to get better at cryptic crosswords, I definitely recommend having a look at that video. The puzzle itself was an absolute beast today, done by an old friend of mine, John Henderson, who, yeah, suitably perplexed me. Thanks for that, John. Next, Fog of War. Now, I am recording this a little later than I'd hoped today. It's another of these days when life has got in the way of them. You know, one of the most important things, which is solving Sudoku. I'm going to have to take my phone out of my pocket because it's going crazy. Let's go over there, put that over there. Anyway, yeah, I'm recording this late, but I still have not had news about the Fog of War app that is going to be released imminently. This is an app we've been working on for the best part of a year, and well, it features puzzles by people like Marty Sears. And if you've been following the channel for a while, you will know that the nature of Fog of War Sudokus and why we hold them in such esteem. And yeah, as soon as I get news of the release, I will announce it on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is @CrypticCracking. And the only thing holding it up, I'm led to believe, is Apple. So the way it works is you sort of submit your apps to the various stores like Steam and Android, and then the App Store for Apple. And it's been approved by Android and Steam, but it's still not been approved by Apple, and we're waiting for that before we release it as a job lot. So keep an eye on our Twitter account, but it's coming imminently. And oh yeah, over on Patreon we've got our monthly competition running, the Sudoku Skunkworks Duality 2. Have I got a picture? I probably do. Here we go. Just yeah, a fantastic collection of puzzles there as well. The opportunity to win the dubious prize of making a Sudoku video with me, where we'll try and solve a puzzle together. So if that interests you, do try and get your answer in by the 20th of November, so plenty of time to finish that competition. And then I've got some birthdays to do. In fact, I must start by saying that we had the fantastic news about Blackjack Fitz and his wife Sarah having baby Michael yesterday. Everything went well. Everyone is happy and healthy. And just isn't that a thrill? Just absolutely brilliant news. So many congratulations to Sarah and to Blackjack Fitz, and of course to young Michael, whose actual birthday was announced on the channel. Now, next, Jason. Jason, it's your birthday today. You've turned 53, and I know this because your son Corey wrote to us and told us that you watch the channel every day, so thank you for doing that. And apparently Corey sometimes joins you, which I do enjoy hearing how families watch together and sort of whole flats of people watch the puzzles. And Jason, I hope that you have a great birthday today, obviously with a large amount of chocolate cake. Corey's email was silent on the availability of chocolate cake today, but I presume that means because, you know, it's just taken as read. You'll be getting a magnificent portion of one. And somebody else I know who is getting chocolate cake is Rachel. Rachel, your wife Stacey wrote to us. She wrote a long email, most of which was incredibly praising of you, I have to say. And I think the two of you might be going on a break this weekend to a beach in Maryland. So I hope that goes well. And Stacey did say that I don't think she's making a cake, but she's buying a chocolate cake for you. So Rachel, I hope it is suitably high quality with an enormous ratio of icing to cake. Many happy returns. And with that said and done, let's get on with Rat Run 13, Triskaidekaphilia by Marty Sears. And I will read you the rules. We have got normal Sudoku rules apply. So we've got to put the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, every column, and every 3x3 box. The aim of the experiment. Finkz the Rat, Finkz is a she, must reach the cupcake by finding a path through the maze. The path must not visit any cell more than once, cross itself, or pass through any thick maze walls, as well as moving orthogonally, which means an orthogonal movement is this. So crossing a sort of edge. Finkz may move diagonally if there's a 2x2 space in which to do so, but may never pass diagonally through a round wall spot on the corner of a cell. So, that's going to be confusing. That red cross looked a lot like that. Oh, good. Actually, it really does. I might have to not use red today. But anyway, I'll just switch to blue for a moment. What I was going to say is we can't do that because you can see we've gone through the sort of thick round wall end, which is not allowed. So we could do that, but we can't do that when Finkz is moving. Now, inevitably, I'm just going to tell you, it always looks with these puzzles, they're all the same in the sense it always looks like Finkz can go very simply over to the cupcake like that, no problem at all, and she never can. She inevitably will go on the most convoluted path you can possibly imagine. That is my tip for solving the puzzle. Ignore the obvious and go to the absolute nonsense, and you'll be in good company. You'll be right where Marty wants you. Now, nullifiers we've got next, I think. The next part of the rules. Nullifiers. In each row, column and 3x3 box, there is one nullifier cell to be located. The value of a nullifier cell is 0. Each nullifier cell contains a different digit. Okay. So, I don't really know what we do with that yet because we don't understand how the rules work. But basically what it's saying is if we had what colour should we make a nullifier cell? Green maybe? Maybe green. So if this was a nullifier, then all of these cells would have to be not nullifiers. So let's go for yellow. It's rather nice actually, because you can only put one nullifier in each row, in each column, and in each box. Motion sensors. Have we had motion sensors before in these puzzles? I think we have, although I can't immediately remember. We had the things that, the teleporters. I can't remember, but I think we have had motion sensors. Anyway, what is a motion sensor? The value on a pink motion sensor indicates how many of the up to 9 cells immediately surrounding the sensor are visited by Finkz. The sensor itself is counted if visited. So let's look at that square. So that one, what we do is we look around the sensor, and every time, so for every cell Finkz is in the yellow, that would contribute to the count of this, is how it works. Now, next, black currents. Values connected by a black current have a 1:2 ratio, which means one of the digits will be double the other. So if this square here is a 2, this square here will either be 1 because 2 is double 1, or 4 because 4 is double 2. Grapes. Values connected by a green grape have a difference of at least 5. So if this square here is a 1, this square has to be at least 6. 6, 7, 8 or 9 is how grapes will work. Gosh, there's still quite a lot more rules. Hang on. Forbidden doors. Values connected by a red X sum to 10. Finkz may not pass directly through a red X. Right, okay, so these are barriers basically. And they add up to 10. So if this was 1, this would be 9. If this was 2, this would be 8, etc. Now the test constraint. Now this will be the real fun of it. In this experiment, if a row, column, or box is visited by Finkz, then the values of all the visited cells in that row, column, or box must sum to exactly 13, even if the cells aren't all adjacent on the path. Wow. Okay. So that's very, very weird then. So that means the moment that Finkz enters, let's look at that. The moment Finkz enters a row, so there she's gone down to row 6, then the cells in row 6 that are on her path have to add up to exactly 13. But that must also be true of the cells in box 5, for example. They're going to have to add up to 13. And the cells in this column are going to have to add up to 13. And that's going to have to be true all over the grid. Although, well, that is true. We are going to have the help of the nullifiers, or the negators, or whatever they were called, nullifiers, to make that work. Well, good grief. I understand the rules. I'm slightly surprised by them, and there are a lot of them to remember. Do have a go. These puzzles are an absolute joy. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. But now, I get to play. Let's get cracking. I can see immediately how I'm going to start, which is by doing that. Because that's the only way that Finkz can get to the cupcake. Now, I'm just going to flick through the rules again. Nullifiers, motion sensors. Oh, forbidden doors, test constraint. Okay. So we can't have more than 13's worth of digits in a... Yeah, okay. So in fact, we can't have more than... Yeah, that's okay. What we can't have is Finkz taking more than 5 cells, I'm going to say, in any row, column or box. Now, the way I'm getting to 5 is that 5 itself is difficult because the triangular number for 5 is 15. What's 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5? So imagine that, I'm trying to see where, let's find a way that Finkz can go. Let's say Finkz did, no, that won't work, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, okay. So look at this box. Oh, that's terrible, sorry. That's okay. Right, so look at box 6. And let's say that Finkz did take 5 cells on the path. Now, in theory, if there was no nullifier in these cells, the minimum we could put into these cells would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 add up to 15. 15 is more than 13. There is a knowledge bomb for you. So that's wrong, isn't it? So the only way of having 5 cells on the path in any row, column, or box is going to be to make one of them a negator cell. And then the other 4 digits could add up to 13. So basically what we're going to have to do is, I think, consider the puzzle. Oopsie, this is difficult to... well, consider 5 as the absolute maximum. And what I can see immediately from that is that we can't go... the Finkz can't go down here, look. Because if Finkz went through there, that's 7 cells of box 3 occupied, and even if one of those was negated, that would still be 6 counting cells. The triangle number for 6 is 21. 21 is too big. So, well, what that doesn't, we don't know whether Finkz goes here, which she could go, but she doesn't go through that boundary, definitely not, or that one. So why is it that she doesn't just do that? She could, oh, in fact, she doesn't even have to do that. I was thinking she could do that if there was a negator in row 4. But using a diagonal move, she could... Oh, do we have to assume that she'll go to visit them? Oh, maybe that... Okay, I've had another thought. Maybe... Oh, hang on, though. Oh, I just had a horrible thought. Right. What I was going to say is maybe Finkz has to visit all of the motion sensors, because what I was going to say, which is wrong, is that we have to put Sudoku digits. We do have to put Sudoku digits in the motion sensors, and Sudoku digits are all positive. So in other words, that would suggest that if you look at all of those squares, for example, Finkz has to visit this corner of the grid, because she has to touch this somewhere, she has to touch this somewhere. That's not true. Because, well, it's nearly not true. Because what would happen if one of these was a negator cell or a nullifier cell? Well, then it would be a 0, and Finkz wouldn't have to go there. But I'm now noticing those two are in the same row, so they can't both be 0. So Finkz definitely has to visit at least some of those grey cells. I suppose the same is true down here. I wonder if that's why the motion sensors have been put close to one another, because then we could make one of them 0, which is classic Marty. It's classic Marty to introduce a rule and then basically disapply it using some nefarious activity. So think, oh no, it's not that good down there, is it? That's a very awkward shape. But we can say that Finkz does have to get into this shape, because these can't both be nullified. So what I'm thinking is that is a reason that Finkz just doesn't run for home to get to the cupcake quickly. So, right, yeah, okay, but maybe this is better, actually. The reason that looks better is actually this X here. Yes, okay. If you stare hard at the top, at the northwest of this grid, and especially at the grey, we know that Finkz overlaps somehow, some way with the grey cells, because it's not possible to negate both of the motion sensors. One of them could be negated, but the other one then couldn't be, because they would be in the same row. So one of these has a positive value, which means Finkz must be in the vicinity. Now, how does Finkz get into the vicinity? I don't know. But what I can see is that once Finkz has got into the vicinity of grey, she can't go out that way. And she can't go out that way. She can't go out that way. So there are actually 3 ways. There's three portals or passageways through which Finkz can get into grey. And 2 of those portals must be used, because having got into the top left of the grid, Finkz has to get out of the top left of the grid. So exactly 2 of these are used, because if we can't use all 3. Let's just prove that. If we did that and then we went up here again, we couldn't get out. So what that means is this is beautiful, isn't it? Because what you can't actually, I think this one is used, this one here. If it's not, how do you not take 6 cells at least in box 1? I mean, you have to take 6 cells, and you can't because the triangular number's too big. Even if one of these is negated, it's too big. So this strand is definitely used. Now, if we go, look at that. If you go round the corner here, you've already used 5 cells, haven't you, of box 2. Actually, maybe I have to get rid of my grey now just to show you that. I'll just highlight this box. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But we can't end here. The path has to get to the cupcake or to Finkz. One of those things is necessary. It doesn't just strand itself. So we'd end up taking too many cells in the yellow region. So we've got to go up. Right, this cupcake is not cupcake. All of them, basically, when you do a Marty Sears puzzle and when you talk about it, you have to learn a whole sequence of words and nomenclature that comes with it. And it's easy to forget. Yeah, but this motion sensor now is not a nullifier, because 1, 2, 3, and in fact it's going to be at least, it's going to be at least 5, isn't it? Because we have to cross over to one of these. Probably this one, I'm thinking, because if you go that way, you're going to get very constrained. Although that's wrong. Right, hang on. Look at if this isn't in, if that's a barrier, look where this one goes. It goes into the same neck of the woods. Well, in fact, it just closes like that. I mean, that's just forced because of this X here. And that can't be right. Finkz does not just whirl around in boxes 1 and 2. Finkz is going to get over there, so she can't. So actually, Finkz must go through there and not through here. Now, the reason that surprises me is that Finkz is therefore spending an awful lot of time Finkz has already spent 4 of her maximum allocation of 5 cells in box 1. So with her next move, she must be about to leave the box. And that tells us that I think we have to go there. Because if we go down, then we have to spend a 6th cell to get out. So we're going to go there, we're going to go there. That's legitimate because we can't go diagonally. So now, let's get rid of the yellow. What do we know? We must know the value of this approximately. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's 5, 6 or 7. I'm thinking it might be able to be 7 if it did a zigzag. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, no, it can't zigzag, can it? Because that would put too many. It would be in. Yeah, yeah, okay. It can't. So now Finkz has spent 4 cells in box 2. So she can't have 2 more cells. So no zigzagging. Finkz is not allowed to zigzag. It must be either a direct connection like that, and that will make the motion sensor 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, 5. Okay, 5 would be very interesting, because normally you can't put 5 on a German whispers line, and these grapes are a bit like German whispers lines. But you can in this puzzle if that is nullified, because nullified counts to 0, doesn't it? And then you would have a difference of 5 across the grape. So yeah, just let me explain that. Imagine there were no nullifiers in this puzzle. Normally 5 is just not allowed as a digit, because this digit needs to be 5 different. If you go downwards, you get to 0, which is not normally a Sudoku digit. If you go upwards, you get to 10, not normally a Sudoku digit. But in this puzzle, because 0 can be created by nullification, you could have a 5 on a motion sensor. But here you could also have 6 if you take that cell or that cell, and you don't diagonally connect them. Now, if that was 6, that would be interesting as well, because this digit would be forced to be 1, which is the own... Oh, no, that's not even true. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. If it's 6, I was going to say this has to be 1, but no, that could again be negated and be a 0, and 6 and 0 are also at least 5 apart. So this is either... Well, it's either 1... It's either 1 or it's... what's the colour we were going to use? Green. It's 1 or green, depending on how the path moves. But Finkz has also used 5 cells in box 1, which means one of these squares has to be a negator, a nullifier, sorry. Otherwise, this would count to at least 15. So one of those is green, which means these are not. And how does it work? If you put... You can't put 0 on a black dot, can you? What was the exact wording of the blackcurrant? Values connect... No, this is a normal black dot in Sudoku terminology, which means one of the digits is double the other. So if I put 0 as one of the values, the other value would be 0, and I can't create 2 zeros in the same box because I can't have 2 nullifiers in the same box. So these are not green. Green is one of those. So these are all normal digits. So let's have a colour for that. Yellow, perhaps. We don't know whether that's a normal digit. One of these is not. Oh, hang on. Don't we know what that is then? That can't be a nullified digit because it definitely sees 4 cells. It is 4. That's what that means, isn't it? The value on a pink motion sensor. Yeah, this is just a normal count of how many, sort of a Minesweeper count if you watched our Tometsi stream. So that's a 4 and it's not green. So it's yellow. So, yeah, that's rather interesting for the black dot. The black dot, what is it now? It can't be, well, let's think about the options. It could be a 1-2 pair. I think that's what it's going to end up being. If it's not a 1-2 pair, it can't be a 2-4 pair because 4 isn't available. Now, if it was 3-6, we might at first blush think that works because 4, 3 and 6 do add up to 13. But that doesn't work here because I can only nullify one of these. So one of these is yellow and will contribute to the count for this box and would take us beyond the 13 total, and 4, 8 is obviously impossible as well. So this is 1, 2. 7 is the count. We need one of these to be a 6 to get us up to 13. Oh, okay, but the rest of this column is yellow. Finkz has to continue to here. And then Finkz can't continue any further down in column 1 because Finkz has already spent the quota. She is quorate on column 1 in the sense that, look, we've had 5 cells. We can't have more than that. So that is a barrier. Oh, but could we go diagonally maybe? I don't know. I don't know if we can or not. But what I can see is that because I'm not allowed any more Finkz cells in column 1, I have to go through there, look. And then there. So this motion sensor is a normal number. And well, now I've got a problem with this one, I think. Yeah, I can't visit any of these squares. Let's sort of hive them off. So if let's say I came along the bottom, or Finkz comes along the bottom and does that. Well, she's going to rinky-dink round, but that's 6 cells in box 7. That's too many. Yeah, this doesn't have to be 0, though, because what it could be... Well, that's true, but let's complete the thought before we move on to another thought. So the path doesn't come along here, because that causes too much pressure on box 7. So that is out. And that means all of this area is not on the path. Now that seems to imply that this wants to be a nullifier. But, so this is counting how many Finkz cells there are in that region. But if that one is in, it would be a 1, which would resolve this, look. So that could be a 1, or it could be a naughty cell. And then, okay, and then Finkz, where does she go from here? Look, she's got to go along there, down here, across here. At all points not taking too many cells, but I don't think she has. 4 cells so far in box 8, so 1 more available, which is good. That means she can't come through there. Which I could have got a different way, I'm seeing now. But she can't come through there because that would be 6 cells. So these are out of bounds. But what I was noticing then is, how does Finkz get to this line end? Because this line end can't go there. So this is coming down and either closing here or closing here. Yeah, I suppose that has ruled out her doing something mad. Although I don't think that would have been possible. Ah. Okay. However Finkz does get to from here to here, that is going to cost a cell. One of these cells will be on the path. Now count how many cells we've used on the path in column 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and one of these is 5. So nothing else. So this can't be on the path. Which means we're either closing directly or we're doing a little rinky-dink. But we don't. I was going to say that means we can count this, but we really can't, because if this goes down and then across, that's contributing to the count of this cell. I spotted it's with Marty Sears puzzles, you could go into the most bizarre places. Okay, I know what they are. That is because in column 1, the 6 is counting towards the total, because it was necessary to count towards the total in box 1. So I've got a 6 and a 4 and 2 more counting digits to add up to 13. So that's a 1-2 pair. And that does pretty much nothing, does it? Maybe. I'm not sure. This x, yeah, x's have got to be real, don't they? Because if we nullify one of the cells, the other cell would have to be a 10, which we can't create. So every x can't be a nullifier. It's not necessarily on the path, but we can immediately yeah, so I could, okay, and I can do that here as well. Again, we don't know whether these are on the path, but we do know they can't contain a green nullifier cell. Could that be a nullifier? If that's a nullifier, oh yeah, all that's doing is saying that's 5 different from 0, so this just has to be a high number, and that's very easy for it to be. So the nullifier is in one of those. Okay, sorry, I'm stuck now. I don't know what to do. How shall we do this? We could argue that... I don't know. I've got no idea where to look. But I've spotted one thing. In row 1, I have used up all of my cells that Finkz can visit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, so what does that mean? That means I can X across the borders, doesn't it? So but didn't we already know this? Or maybe we didn't. Maybe we didn't know it couldn't do that. So now this either closes like that or it closes diagonally. And unfortunately, I'm not sure what to do with that. Do we? Oh, Finkz can't go there in the corner because she would have to go upwards, and then she's taken 6 cells in column 9. Ah, right. So that's interesting. The same. Now this cell becomes effectively a corner of the grid. So again, if Finkz does go there, she has to go there, and that's 6 cells in the column again. So this is not possible. So Finkz... Right, so Finkz has to go through there, can't turn left apparently, so has to go up. But then either goes up there or goes across there. Okay, here is a little point, perhaps. I'm not sure about this point, so I'm going to mull this over for a moment before I announce it. Finkz can't go here, can she? Because we've already used up our quota in column 1. But we don't know whether she goes diagonally or up. Well, okay, what I was looking at was this row. No, I'm wrong as well. I'm wrong. I'm not looking at it anymore. I was trying to see how she was going to take enough cells to count. She's got this option, she's got this option. But if she took that option, she couldn't take this option. She'd be forced here. If she takes that option, we're going to have to cross this row and this row. Oh no, I've not. Oh no, I still haven't got anything. I'm sorry. Is there any other row and column where she has used all of her powers? I don't know the answer to that. Hang on. One, two. If this is on the path, so it's, yeah, that's not able to be a negator, is it? It's on the path, so it's counting how many cells there are in those cells, how many cells of path there are in those cells. So it is contributing to the count of, well, it's contributing to many counts. It's contributing to the count of box 7. Whatever we put in there has to add up to 13. It's contributing to the count of column 3. Whatever I put in there has to add up to 13. I sort of want this to come down here, because then this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's at least 6. I don't know how to do this. I'm so sorry if this is obvious to everybody. I apologise. If we... Maybe I've got to use the x's. Let's use the x's. Okay, so this is a 1, 2 pair. So this is either 3, 7 or 4, 6. But do we know any more than that? The answer is, I haven't got a Scooby-Doo. This x can't be 4, 6. I can see that, because 4 and 6 have already been removed from its top cell. Oh, wait a second, hang on. Look at box 4. I've used 5 cells in box 4, so one of these has got to be a naughty, a nullifier. Right, so what that means is, and both... Oh, hang on, what does that mean? What does that mean? Well, I tell you one thing it means. I can't go to this square. That would be a 6th cell. So I know how I close. I close like that. Oh, well, this is also stopping that pattern. If I go there, I've used up 6 cells in box 4. I can't do that. So this is how Finkz begins her path. She goes left up into there. And right, and now, well, now what's that doing to this? This can't be that big now, because these, let's just count this. What is actually on the path for definite in this area? 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is either a 5 or a 4. This square here. Now, if it's a... got it. Right. This is... Well, actually, have I got it? Hang on, I might not have it after all. Yes, no, I have got it. I have got it. Okay, so, if this is 5, what does that mean for the value of this? That has to be a negator, because the only way we can create a grape with a 5 on it is with a 5 and a 0. So if this is 5, this is a negator. But if this is 5, doesn't that mean I have to go there? Because I need another cell in this region. And if I go there, that becomes... I suppose that's right, isn't it? Because then that's a 1, which is fine, because that's not a double... I haven't double greened. Yeah, okay. But if this is 4, that has to be a negator, because I've only used 4 cells around this. So I'd never visit this square. So that has to be a 0. So one of these two is green, which means this is not green. So that's yellow. That's yellow. That's green. These two digits add up to 10. Oh, hang on. That's big. Right. These two digits add up to 10 because in this box, the yellow cells must add up to 13. I've already got 3. So these add up to 10. Now they're either, because we can't be 1, 9 or 2, 8, they're either 3, 7 or 4, 6, but this can't be 4, 6. So this must be 3, 7, which means this must be 4, 6. This must be 3, 7. These two digits are the same. What are the rest of it? Right, 5, 8 and 9 into these squares. But this has to work. This has to work along a grape. So that can't be 7, because 7 can't go next to 5, 8 or 9 in grape terminology. That's a 3. This is not 5 anymore. This is 7. This is 3. Oh dear. Hang on. Now what's going on? Haven't I got too much on the... I'm now worried I'm going to have too much on the path in this column. In column 3, I've got a 7 and at least... Okay, I can't have any more on the path. Because if this did go down to this square, remember we said that might be green. This might resolve that. If this goes down here, apart from the 7, I've got this square, and this square that would be yellow. I can't have any more negators in this column. And 7 plus 4 plus at least a 1, 2 pair is 14. That's too many. So this closes diagonally. And now we know the count of it, which is 4. Which means this is 9 by grape logic, which means it is not a negator. So we need to get rid of that. We need to yellowify it. The negator now I think has to be this one, which is now seeing no cells at all. Classic Marty. So that one is negated, so we don't know what digit goes in it. Oh, and that makes sense, because now... Oh, no, it doesn't. Oh, yes, it does. Oh, no, it doesn't. Oh, yes, it does. I was going to say, oh, that makes sense, because I noticed that these two squares added up to 13, which is what I'm supposed to have in box 7. But then I thought, oh, but what about row 7, where I can't have anything more on the path? But then I have got one more on the path. But then I thought, but if I negate that and it's 0, that's fine still. So that's another negator by the need to not have more than 13 in row 7. So now I can yellowify everything else in all of this row. I've got to have a negator look along the path there. All of this turns yellow. Do I know what that one is? No, I'm not sure I do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, hang on. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cells in column 4, so I can't go here. And I can't go there because of row 1. So this closes diagonally. That's been available forever, hasn't it? I just didn't notice it. But now I can count this one. 1, 2. Hang on, I'm going to do this carefully. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a 5 on a grape. So that means this is a 0, which means it's a negator, which means we don't know what goes in it. Which means that means a whole load more stuff has to be yellow. Let's do all of that. This is knocking all of this into being yellow. This is now definitely yellow. So there's only 2 spots for green in box 8. And therefore, what we will now argue about is, well, what about row 2? Row 2 has got a 4 and that digit counting, and that's all. I can't have anything else here. So that's a 9, I think. which is a big number. It's a big number from the perspective of the column, isn't it? Can't have too much more in this column if we've got 9 definitely counting. I wonder if that fair-weathered friend Sudoku is what I'm supposed to be doing here. I don't know. How do we do this then? We could argue that. I don't know. I don't know. Is this in any way obvious? Probably is. Oh, okay. I'm going to go back to my earlier thought about row 6 now. Oh, this is lovely. Right. Look at row 6. Now, we don't, until this point, we weren't sure how this was going to progress. But now, these squares are all impossible for Finkz to travel in. So if we go up here, we're never going to visit row 6 again, because we can't get out of it. And that would mean these two squares have to add up to 13, and that would be a 10. And that doesn't work, does it? So we've got to go that way, and then I think we know what this is, because these are both counting and they're not 3, 6. So if these were not 1, 2, what would they be? They'd be 2, 4, wouldn't they? But if they were 2, 4, what would this digit be? It would be 4, because we'd have 9 at the moment. We'd need 4 more. And that doesn't work. So I think that has to be 1, 2. It can't be 4, 8, or we've already broken the 13 barrier. So this is 1, 2. Oh no! Well, no, this is fine. This is fine. I was about to get very cross with myself, but I'm going to give myself a pass on this one. I was going to say, haven't I got 5 cells now of path in box 5? I do now. I didn't have it before. So I'll forgive myself the fact that that is definitely green, because these can't all count. So these are definitely yellow. This is yellow. This is green. There's no other place for green. So oh, right. That's going to be interesting. Right. Look what's going on up here. These 3 squares all count towards the total for this box. Well, I can't have another counting cell up here. In fact, that's going to force a diagonal movement. This is beautiful, Marty. I have to do that, because if these both count, if I had an extra counting cell... Oh, hang on, I'm wrong. Well, no, sort of am wrong, actually. No, it's fine, it's fine. These do have to be a 1-3 pair. I was mulling over whether they could be a 1-2 pair with a 1 here. But that's impossible, because then this box won't add up to 13. The point is that the only way you get an extra cell of path in box 3 is by making this one on the path. That would give us 3 different digits plus 9. Even if these were 1, 2, 3, that would be 6 plus 9 is 15. 15 is too many. So we have to make exactly those 2 add up to the 4 we need, which means these are a 1-3 pair, which means, actually we know the order, and that's 3 in the corner, that's 3 in the spotlight, losing its religion. Marty, always very grateful when 3 in the corner emerges. So this works. We have to go diagonally, because to have this square in would again break the total that time for column 9. So we've got to go through here. Now, have we got... Yeah, we've got... Oh, look at this. In row 4, I've got 4 counting cells, one of which is a 7. So these 3 counting cells have to add up to 6, which means they are a 1, 2, 3 triple. We know there's a 3 in one of these, both from the row and the box. Oh, this is an X, so that's got to be a high digit. 7, 8 or 9. Okay, and that digit is a 7. Because what we've got 1, 2 and 3 counting in this box already. We can't have any more counting digits, because that would be 5 counting digits. We can only have a maximum of 4. So this is the balance between 13 and 6, so it is 7. So this is now not 3, because we've just taken 7 out of here. So this is 3. One of these is 3. 7 lives in one of those squares, which is on the path. Oh, yeah, okay, look at box 5 now. Marty, this is so beautifully set. It really is. How did you come up with the grid? I don't know whether Marty sets with a computer, but this is really clever. Because look, again, I've got 4 counting digits now, but one of those counting digits by Sudoku is a 7. So that must be 7, 1, 2, 3 again. Which, oh, beeping outside. 7, 1, 2, 3. One of these definitely include 3 and, oopsie, 3 and 7. Okay, here is an interesting weirdity. This is a weird point. Look at that digit. Where does that digit go in this box? Is quite a good question. Because, let's just give it a little frisson of colour. It can't repeat in green. We're told that all the green numbers are different, so it's not there. It's not in its own row. It is equal to 5, 8 or 9, so it's there, I think, which means it's not 9. So it's got to be 5 or 8. Okay, so let's continue with that then. That one in this box, where does that go? That is in the green, so that's 4 or 6. Now, what's this digit is the next question to ask, isn't it? Okay, I don't know what this one is yet, but I can tell you something really rather pretty. I can tell you something really rather pretty about it, and that's that it's not 4 or 6. See if you can see why that is. It's very obvious once you appreciate it, but it's real. It gave my brain a moment of joy. The reason this can't be 4 or 6 is it would go there, and I've just said that digit goes there. So if this is 4 or 6, it's repeated in green. So it's not 4 or 6. It's not 1, 2, 3 or 7, and it's not 5. So unless my Sudoku skills are deserting me, which can happen and does, that is an 8 or a 9. Now, what can we do with that? Do we know anything about this one? No, I don't think so. 2, 3. Doesn't that have to be a 7? Or am I going mad? That seems to be a counting digit in a row with 4 counting digits. Can't have more than 4 counting digits. So that's got to be 7. This must not be a counting digit. So that's got to be a negating digit, which means it's not the 6. So the 6 goes here. Which means that there's a 6 down here by Sudoku. And as Maverick flies over, Maverick taking a late flight this evening. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9. Oh, that's nice. Right. Okay, look at that digit. What green number can that be? And just do Sudoku on the digit. 1, 2, 3, and 4 ruled out. 6 and 7 ruled out. So it's 5, 8, or 9. Which means these three are 5, 8, and 9. So, oh no, nearly. So any green cell now can't be 5, 8, or 9. The thing is, we don't actually know very much. We know a little bit about that one. So that one can be 1, 2, can't be 3, 4, can't be 5, can't be 6 by Sudoku, could be 7 maybe. 1, 2, or 7. Don't think I can do better than that. What about... hang on. What about, where's 9 in box? This is going to be big. Where's 9 in box 1? It's got to go in the corner, actually. And that's huge, because that means this is 8 and this is 5, and therefore that's 5 by what we did earlier. So let's get rid of the colouring so that we don't pollute our palette. 5 is there by Sudoku. 5 is in one of those 3 squares. Now, 5 has only got one home now in box thingy, whatever this box is, box 1. So 7 and 8 are placed. 7, 8, this isn't 8, that's not 7, 1 or 2. I've got a 1, 2 pair in the column now. So that digit is a, it's 8 apparently. Okay. That probably is all right, isn't it? Just doing a bit of Sudoku here to tidy things up. Now, what does that mean? Have we learned any more about the world? I feel like I've not done enough thinking recently about, oh yeah, let's do this row. Let's do this row. I've got 4 counting digits. So these are 7. So these have to add up to 6 without using 1, 5. So this is a 2, 4 pair. Doesn't seem to be resolved unbelievably. So these are, where's 9 in row 3? There is the answer. So this is a 7, 8 pair. So actually I know a lot about 9s now. 9s are probably the place we're meant to look. I was going to say we can't overlap 9 with green, but that we don't know whether that's green. If this was 9, we'd know it wasn't green, because we've already had a green 9. How about... what do we do now? Oh, look at this column. That column's got to add up to 13. I've got 7 and 4 in it. That's 11. So that's a 2. That's a 1. That's a 2 as a green digit. Okay, so this is a 1, 6 pair at the bottom of column 3. These squares are 3, 5, and 7. We know so little about the bottom 3 rows of the grid. Okay, but what about these digits? They have got to be 4 and 6. Oh, bother. That doesn't work. Might colour 4s and 6s if I get really stuck, you know. I am very happy to do that. What else could we do, though? Do we know the way to San Jose? Not sure. Oh, I've got a 1, 2, 3, 7 quadruple in row 5. So these squares are 4s, 6s, 8s and 9s. That's not allowed to be 9. There could be all sorts of weird Sudoku-ness or weird totaling that I've not... Oh, that's not 7, that I've not used properly, actually. Oh, hang on, if that's green, which it is, that is not green. There's a very obvious point. So that's yellow. So it definitely isn't 9, because I've already got a 7 in the column. So the 9 moves to the bottom of the grid. The 9 is in one of those squares. This would be very handy. But the other thing I'm noticing, look, if we look at column 4, I've got a 7, and then I've got 3 more digits to add up to make 13. So this is a 1, 2, 3 triple, and that means that's a 2, not a 4. So this is now a 1, 3 pair, these two squares. I'm always quite excited. Oh, where's 4 in this column? I was going to say I'm always quite excited to find out. Oh, that's 6, which we know was that digit. So that's a 6, that's a 4. To find out what the digit is that Finkz herself is. This is 4, 8, 9. Are we going to get that now? Is this a 6? I think it is. So, where do we look next? We could look at... no. Well, okay, why don't we? What about column 5? I've got a 4 here. I've only got 2 more cells to count. So these have to add up to 9. Now, this can't be 1, therefore, because that would require an 8 here. If this is 2, this is 7. Might be possible. This is 3. This is 6. Not possible. So we can take 3 out. And if this is 7, this is 2. Bobbins. That works. So that's a 2, 7 pair in the column. Oh, I know that one is a negating cell now, don't I? In fact, maybe that's where I've got to do this. How many... Yeah, look, if we look at my nullifying cells, I've got lots of... I've got 5 digits, so I'm happy. I don't mind pencil marking it. Have I got 5 or have I got 6? I haven't put one in this box, you know. I can put one there. There we go. Just didn't see that. So can that... It can't be 8. I've already got 8. Oh, goodness, look, that's 7. That's 8. That's 9. Does that do it? Does that do something? It's got to do something. 1, 3, and 4 have to be put in the remaining negators. Nullifiers. That's not 4. This one is also not 4. So the only one that can be 4 is that one. Does it help? No, it doesn't help. I don't believe it. Oh, you rotten puzzle. You rotten puzzle. Good grief. Okay. Okay, this is a 1, 3 pair. I'm seeing that by Sudoku. I'm being forced by Marty to do Sudoku. These are a 6, 8 pair, I think. So I should know what these are. What are those? 4 and 5. I don't know what that means. It might be something to do with the total in this column or something like that. Or even in box 9, you know, because there is a 9 float. Oh, there isn't a 9 there anymore. The 9 has moved over here. So if this is 9, I think we're in trouble, actually. If it's on the path, I don't think it can be now. Because these would have to be a 1, 3 pair, which they're no longer allowed to be. So that's not on the path. So the path either goes there like that. And that doesn't work, because then I'd have 3 digits in the column that would have to be a 1, 2, 3 triple to accompany the 7. And that's impossible with this digit again. So the path closes diagonally there, which is actually really weird, because now that's a domino, well, not a domino, but it's a duad that has to add up to 13 in and of itself to make this box work. Oh, I tell you how we should do this. Look at column 8. I've only got 3 cells of path. So that means this digit and this digit have to add up to 6. So this is not 3. This is 4 or 5, and it can't be 4. So that's 5, that's 1, that's 5, that's 4. This is an 8 by mathematics. Oh, in the bottom row, I've only got 2 digits on the path. So that's a 5 by mathematics. That's a 5 by Sudoku. And, okay, can I get the numbers to work here? These two squares have to add up to 8. So they've got to be 7 and 1. 7 and 1. And therefore that's 3. This is a 2, remember. Those two had to add up to 9, didn't they? That's now a 1. That's a 2. That's a 7. That's a 1. That's a 3. This has to be different from this one. So that becomes a 3. This is a fabulous puzzle. It really is clever. Oh, we don't get another 3 in the corner. That's 7. Stop that. Look. That's a 3. We've got... Okay, where's 6 in column 5? We can do that. That's therefore an 8. This is a something. The technical term for a 2. This is 1, this is 6. This is 1 by Sudoku. We have not put 7 into this row. This is 8, this is 4. Yeah, we are there, aren't we? We've done it, I think. I'm going to have to check some things, just to be comfortable that this is correct. I mean, it seems to be filling itself in. I'm not doing anything clever at all. But it just filled itself in at the end. So let's check. Have we got a complete path? The answer to that is no. No, because I have not resolved how this moves. But I feel like, yeah, we can't take any more cells in row 4. We can't take any more cells in row 5, so that is a diagonal closure. Now, the next question is going to be whether or not everything adds up. So far, everything I've seen has added up. Or 2, that's okay. Oh, let's just give it a go. Yes! Oh, and a great long screed of information. Look, 300 people have done it in 8 days, but I think it only came out a couple of days ago. Oh well, I don't know. Experiment completed successfully. Test date 6th of the 11th, 1974. That was 2 days ago. Well, plus a few years. Cells visited 35. Blackcurrants eaten 2. Grapes eaten 1. Forbidden doors used 0. Tick. I am no longer surprised that Finkz quickly spotted what needed to be done in this maze, wasting no time in visiting all rows, columns and boxes to achieve every total of 13. What did come as a surprise, however, was that Finkz only ate half of her cupcake today. The first time this has happened. What's going on, Finkz? You only ate half the cupcake? Where's my half? I mean, let's just pause, though, and give a round of applause to Marty, because that is just brilliant setting. I have a feeling that is an incredibly difficult grid to construct. Line segment with negators. The addition of negators to allow only 13 segments to create a route through a puzzle. It feels very clever. It feels very clever. Loved it. How long? I mean, how am I still going? Oh, it's 1 hour 13. I've got to stop. I've got to stop. Let me know in the comments how you got on. I enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind. We'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.